Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Chief Truth YouTube channel. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Thanks again, once again, for checking in with the Chief Truth. On today, I want to talk about this whole Shedeur Sanders situation, man. So, want to give you my thoughts on that. It's been a lot of talk about it, been a lot of things said, a lot of speculation and things of that nature, with him being drafted in the 5th round. Even though leading up to the draft, all indications from all the draft experts were that he was going to be a top 10 pick, or at the very least, a 1st round pick. Well, neither of those things happened, and it became this big watch, and everybody was paying attention to the draft, trying to figure out when is Shedeur getting drafted. So the 1st round passed, the 2nd round passed, 3rd, 4th round passed, and then finally in the 5th round, the Cleveland Browns ended up selecting him. So it's been a lot of talk and speculation about how the NFL may have been colluding against Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders, because I guess in the pre-draft process, they didn't like the way that they operated. They didn't like the way that Shedeur came off in some of his interviews. I know particularly there have been reports about him and his interview and meetings with the New York Giants and how well that didn't go. So yeah, man, it's just been a lot of speculation, and of course they've been bringing up the topic of race and how maybe this had racial implications, and how because him being a young black man who had a bunch of confidence, and maybe it comes off as a little arrogant, a little cocky, they didn't like that, so they wanted to put him in his place and kind of stick it to him a little bit. But yeah, man, my thoughts on this. First of all, I think that Shedeur Sanders will be just fine in the NFL. I think he'll be a fine quarterback. I'm not really that excited about him going to Cleveland. No disrespect to Cleveland, but I think even Cleveland Browns fans know about Cleveland's history with quarterbacks, okay? And they don't have a really good track record with quarterbacks. But I do like Shedeur. I think that he'll do a great job. Had a great college career from Jackson State to Colorado, won 2 SWAC championships with Jackson State, and then transferred to Colorado. And, last year he had completed 74% of his passes for 4,134 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Also had 4 rushing TDs as well, and led Colorado to a bowl game. So, he had a great college career, man. And he's one of those guys that's not going to wow you with his athleticism, not going to wow you with his arm. Like, he's not throwing missiles through hula hoops like Josh Allen or anybody like that, or Mahomes. But he's one of those guys that's going to beat you from the pocket. He's going to beat you with his mind. He's going to beat you with pre-snap reads. He's going to beat you with post-snap reads. He can throw with touch. And even though he doesn't have a rocket arm like a Jalen Milroe or anything like that, I think he has a good enough arm to make all of the throws. I think people get too enamored with having like a strong arm and thinking that you just have to be able to throw the ball 200 miles per hour. Like a guy like Jared Goff, right? I know Detroit Lions fan, I know a little homerish, but Jared Goff don't got a rocket arm. Jared Goff can make all the throws. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's won multiple playoff games. Like, you can win with that. You don't have to have a freaking cannon for an arm to be a great NFL quarterback. Another thing that I don't think gets talked about enough is how Shedeur hasn't actually ever been with a Avengers squad. Like, he's never been with an Ohio State. He's never had a great offensive line. He's never been with just this assortment of talent, and this running back's going in the 1st round, and this offensive tackle's going in the 1st round, and this defensive back is going in the 2nd round, and this linebacker's going in the second. Like, he hasn't had that. And I know what you guys are going to say. Well, he played with Travis Hunter. Okay, I get that. He's had Travis Hunter his entire career from Jackson State to Colorado. But at the same time, Travis Hunter ain't blocking for him. Okay, Travis Hunter can do a lot of things. He can't get back there. He can't play left tackle and protect Shedeur. Okay, so he's had to basically learn how to be productive without having the assortment of talent that like a Quinn Ewers had, or that a Carson Beck had, or that I forgot the guy's name at Ohio State. I forgot his I forgot his name. But anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, yeah. I think that does kind of count for something, and I do think that doesn't get talked about enough. He's still been like uber productive without having a great offensive line or a first round running back. All right, so now that I've gotten my post draft analysis out the way about Shedeur Sanders, I guess I'll just say, man, I don't think that race really had much to do with this at all. I think that this was more of Shedeur being off-putting and that driving teams away and driving him down their draft boards for that matter. I don't think that this really had, I don't think all the teams said, okay, well, we have this young black kid. Okay, he's a little arrogant, he's a little cocky. So because he's black, we're going to push him down the boards, and we don't like him because he's black, and we don't like his dad because he's black, and we're just going to stick it to him, and we're going to prove a point that you as a black, like, I don't think that happened. I don't think that that's what really happened here. I think that this has everything to do with Shedeur Sanders not being professional in the meetings with the teams, and I guess over the next, I don't know, maybe the next few months we'll kind of find out specifics. I feel like from everything I've seen, if you guys have heard anything different, let me know down in the comments. But it seems like they're kind of talking about it at a high level, like they're not really diving into specifics and like what all was said, what all was asked in the meetings or anything of that nature. It's just, we know that he had a meeting with Brian Daboll and the New York Giants, and that didn't go so well. And he was very, I guess, he rubbed Brian Daboll the wrong way, and I guess they were maybe only taking meetings with certain teams and kind of just, I don't know, being low-key disrespectful to other teams. I don't know. We'll find out more specifics, I guess. But I think that had a lot to do with it, man. And also, too, more importantly, his dad being Deion Sanders. Okay? Deion freaking Sanders. This ain't just your run-of-the-mill father. This ain't just your father next door or across the street or somebody you see at the grocery store, right? I mean, this is Deion Sanders, okay? One of the best, if not the best, arguably the best cornerback to ever step onto a football field, okay? And not only that, he also has a lot of connections in the media. So he worked with the NFL Network for a long, long time. So not only does he have just the football connections, right? Just being one of the greatest football players of all time, Hall of Famer, he also has a lot of connections with the media. And then, you got Deion going on shows and saying how they were going to be selective and how they were going to basically try and see if they can play the cards in such a way that Shedeur goes to a place that they want him to go to and that he doesn't get drafted by certain teams. Like, teams hear that type of stuff, man. And they know that Deion has power, right? He has when he speaks, people listen. So it's not just like some LeVar Ball who just kind of came out of nowhere, or some dad we don't know, or some guy we don't know about. No, this is Deion Sanders. So the NFL, if Deion wanted to come on to the NFL Network and complain about his son's playing time, the NFL Network gonna let him do it. They not just letting anybody do that. They're not gonna let Cam Ward's dad do that, right? So I think teams understood that, and they know the power that his dad holds and the influence that he holds. So they said, okay, you know what? We got Shedeur being off-putting, right? We don't like his attitude. We don't like the fact that he's a little arrogant. And then on top of that, his dad has a lot of pull and a lot of power, and that could bring basically a big media circus to our team, a big distraction to our team, and we don't want that. I also think that they just kind of showed everybody that, well, we just don't think that Shedeur Sanders is that good. And we don't think that he's so good that we're just going to ignore all this other stuff right here. Because I'm telling you this right now, if they felt like Shedeur Sanders was on the level, like the level of a prospect of like Caleb Williams last year, I'm telling you, he definitely would have went in the top 5. At the very least, he would have went top in the first round. He wasn't getting out that first round. I promise you that. There's no way that Pittsburgh looks at him, because Caleb Williams' ceiling, right, according to all the experts, was basically Patrick Mahomes. And I think people still feel that way, that his ceiling is Patrick Mahomes or Patrick Mahomes-esque. So I'm telling you this, if Shedeur Sanders, if they felt like Shedeur Sanders' skill set was better or he had an elite skill set, well, then they would have selected him in the first round. I'm telling you this right now. Even with all the stuff I just said about his attitude, his arrogance, it wouldn't have mattered whether he was black, white, brown, green, blue, purple. They wouldn't have gave a fuck, bro. I'm telling you this right now. But yeah, man, because remember when Caleb Williams came out, it wasn't that long ago. His dad was parading around and saying how Caleb Williams' dad was parading around saying, well, if the wrong team gets the first overall draft pick, well, then we're going to go back to school. We're not going to come out. Caleb Williams not going to come out and enter the draft. He's going to go back to school. And then remember, there were reports coming out that Caleb Williams was actually wanting an ownership stake in the team that he ended up signing to. So he has some quirks about him, and he had a dad that was basically a helicopter dad. But regardless, he still went number 1 overall. I mean, that didn't stop the Chicago Bears from taking him because they viewed him as an elite prospect. And so if the NFL looks at you a certain way, if they think that you're him, trust me, bro, it ain't too much that's going to keep them from taking you and taking you early. I mean, we just remember Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he had an incident at Georgia where they were street racing and 2 people ended up dying. So the Philadelphia Eagles still selected him in the first round. Now, I think he slid down some draft boards, obviously. And of course, the red flag label got attached to him, but he wasn't making it out that first round. Okay, he damn sure went from the slide to the 5th round because they just viewed him as an elite prospect. So I'm just saying, they make exceptions. But if there's one thing I think that we should take away from this whole situation, man, is this right here. They say 90% of life is just showing up. I remember I had college professors that was like, man, you know what? If y'all just come to class, just bring your ass to class, you're probably well in line to get at least a C, okay? Just by showing up. I think that we can flip that and say something like, a lot of the time, life just comes down to being decent. Just comes down to being decent, being cordial, being likable, being respectable. And I'm not saying that everybody has to like you, because quite frankly, everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to like your personality, right? Everybody's not going to be attracted to you. And that's fine. You shouldn't live your life to want everybody to like you. But at the same time, you shouldn't live your life to be an asshole. You shouldn't live your life and go throughout your life being a dick to people. I mean, hell, even in jail, right? They have certain rules and, basically codes that you should adhere to about respect, man. Respect is big. If you don't say, excuse me, you might be getting stabbed later on. So a little humbleness, a little humility goes a long way, man. If I feel like Shedeur, and I think I saw somewhere where they said that Shedeur actually came out and admitted that, yeah, I probably didn't go about this thing the right way. And if he could do things differently, he would have. But yeah, man, that shit takes you a long way in life, man. Because at the end of the day, I think basically what happened was, I think maybe Shedeur went into these situations a little defensive, maybe because of things he had heard, maybe because he just felt like he had it. Like, man, screw what y'all talking about, man. I'm a top 5 pick, and he thought that was going to go over well with them, but it didn't. I mean, obviously it didn't. So I just think that he probably went in there a little defensive, and he went in there probably a little too amped up. And I don't know, man. I mean, he's young, he'll learn from this, and I think he probably thought a little too much of himself compared to what the NFL thought of him. And so nothing wrong with having confidence in yourself. You should be. But I just think that they just didn't view him as he viewed himself, is what I'm saying. And also, too, I just want to speak on this, man. I see a lot of people making a big fuss about him having the legendary merch and having, I guess he had some type of legendary wall or something that had legendary written all over it. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that, man. Look, There's absolute what y'all want him to say? Like, come on now that right there, I think is like nitpicking. Like, come on, y'all, really? I understand I'm getting older too, and I'm becoming the get off my lawn guy. But good God, man, let the boy live, man. He's 23 years old. Like, if like, bro, you see that all the time. Like, these kids have all sorts of things, going on, selling merch and they have all sorts of tattoos and stuff. Legendary. I mean, remember LeBron James, the chosen one, King. They all have all sorts of little things that motivate them and try to remind them he's manifesting it. Like, what's wrong with that? What do you want? What would you want it to say? Do you want it to say, I suck, I'm terrible, non-legendary? Like, what do you want it to say? Like, he has confidence in himself. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with him having confidence and that he thinks that he will be legendary, or he thinks he's legendary already. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? Sometimes, man, you just gotta sit back and smell the roses, man. You gotta let young people be young people, man. It's okay. It's okay. We were all 23 at one point in time. You probably got a tattoo of some people have all sorts of proverbs and Chinese proverbs and all sorts of Bible verses written on them. Okay, so what you gonna say about, like, bruh, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. So anyway, man, that's all I got. You guys let me know what you think about this whole situation, man. Make sure to drop a comment down in the comment section below. Leave a like on this video before you leave. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, man. So as always, count your blessings, not your problems. I'm out. Peace.